All right, good morning, everyone. This week's game, the Blue Raiders will travel to Colorado State. Kickoff will be at 3 o'clock Central Time. And the game is going to be broadcast locally. It's going to be on Xfinity Cable 230. And then it's also going to be on Circle TV and 4.5 Digital in Nashville, as well as Raider Vision on GoBlueRaiders.com. So to get things started, I'll turn it over to the head coach, Rick Stockstill.
Thanks, AC. Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody being here this morning. Going out to Colorado State, like AC said, they're a completely different team than what they were last year. Last year they were 3-9. They lost a lot of close games last year, but they've changed their team. They've got 7 new starters on offense that are transfer guys. 5 of them came from Nevada with Jay. So they're very familiar with their offensive scheme. Got a couple receivers, 3 offensive linemen, and running back, quarterback, all came from Nevada. So they know what, that offensive system, so it's a very diverse offense. It's, they had a tough matchup in week 1 last week against Michigan, but they do a lot of different things schematically, offensively, that'll challenge us. They've got good skill people, got a good running back, and, their quarterback was his first start, there for Colorado State, and he's a very good player. Defensively, the same thing. They've got 4 new starters out there that are transfer guys. 2 corners are really good. Their 2 defensive ends are very athletic, dynamic, very good pass rushers. Their middle linebackers are a really good player as well. So this is a very good defense, obviously. And then their kicking game is really good also. Their punter transferred. He's an Australian-type punter, transferred from Nevada as well with Jay. So he's an experienced guy also. So they're very sound in the kicking game. Defensively, they're going to base out of a 4-man front. They're going to pressure you. And as much pressure as we saw last week, I'm sure they'll amp it up a little bit also, amp it up a little bit more. So got to be ready to go. Had a good practice yesterday and excited about this opportunity that we have this weekend. So open up to you guys.
Morning, Coach. Sam Doughton here.
Morning, Sam.
You mentioned the tough matchup they had with Michigan, sort of a really lopsided score. How does that make scouting a team, going into just week 2 difficult when maybe they weren't doing what they were trying to do on offense day in, day out?
I think they were trying to do what they do day in and day out. Like I said, they got 5 starters that were in this offense last year when they were at Nevada. So they know what they're doing. There's a mismatch, at times. Michigan's top 10 in the country. They're a good football team. But anytime you're playing a new staff or a new team, this early in the year, you're always going to go back and watch last year's game film, so we'll watch last year's stuff, from Nevada. We'll watch last year's stuff, Montana, with their defensive coordinator. So you go back and this early in the year, you try to watch as much film and gather as much information as you can, from the previous year.
It looks like from their game notes that they run a base nickel defense based on the positions they have listed. Middle Tennessee's a program that's always stuck with the base 4-3 as far as what's put out there. But with spread, you guys obviously run a lot of nickel. I was just curious on your thoughts on whether teams really ever run base 4-3 consistently anymore these days.
That's a good question, Sam. There's so much so many different personnel groupings that you get from offenses today that you're going to have your base defense, but, in third down situations where it's obvious passing situations, teams, if they're in 10 personnel, you're more apt to go to a 3-man front. If it's, you're backed up and you're in a 11 personnel, you may be more in a 4-man front. So I think that everybody's got their base defense that they believe in, that they spend the majority of their time in, but then you've got to be able to adapt and adjust to all the different personnel groupings and situations that you get during the course of a game, that you've got to be able to be flexible in between a 4-man front, a 3-man front, between nickel dime and base coverage.
Coach, this is Chip Walters. Coming out of last Saturday, what do you feel like are your biggest priorities on getting better this week?
Yeah, Chip, it was obviously it was a tough outing and disappointed in it, but we got to find a way to get better and go to work, and we did that yesterday. We played a lot of people that first time they ever played college football or Division I level, and we had four new guys up front. 2 of our top 5 wide receivers were out with injuries. We replaced all 3 linebackers from last year and both safeties and a corner. So there were a lot of new people out there playing, for the first time against a really good team. And that's not an excuse. It's just a fact. It is what it is. And, so we got to get better. We got to be more consistent, obviously, offensively, in trying to protect the quarterback. Number one, we got to do a better job there to give Chase a little bit more time to get through his reads. We got to be more consistent and get better in the running game. And that's not just an indicate or an indictment to the running backs. It's not just the offensive line. It's everybody. We had some opportunities, in short yardage there that, we didn't execute the zone read, especially there on 4th down. We got to get better at little things like that. And then defensively, let me start with the special teams. We didn't cover our punts very well, and that forced our defense on a short field, especially in the second and third quarter. And field position is critical in any game, So I thought we put our defense in a bad situation there, especially in the second and third quarters. They scored 37 points in those 2 quarters. They didn't score in the first and scored 7 in the fourth. But we got to be better defensively. We gave up way too many big plays, explosive plays. So we've got to be better there. We've got to execute better on the back end in the passing game. I thought up front we did a good job. We got after the quarterback. We pressured him. We did a good job in the run game. We just got to be more consistent. The back 7 there in the run game and in the passing game. So I don't know if that answered your question, Chip. I know I threw a lot out there, but those are some things that stood out, after the game.
Coach, Fort Collins is about 5,000 feet above sea level, so you guys are going up to play in altitude this week. Is there anything y'all can do in Murfreesboro to start to prepare for that, or is it just something you're gonna have to figure out when you get up there?
Drink, make sure you hydrate. Can't really do anything about the altitude. It's a long flight, and I told them, yesterday, really towards the end of last week that, start hydrating a little bit more, because, anytime hydration is an issue, you don't wait till the day of the game, the day before the game. It's got to be something that you're cognizant of and that you do, on a daily basis for weeks, for months, that you take care of your body. And so we talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it. It's a long flight. Anytime you fly for a long period of time, that you get dehydrated, so we've got to do a good job of, it's a 3-hour flight, I think. And so we got to do a good job of making sure we hydrate on the plane. We're drinking there on the plane. And obviously prior to getting on the plane, that we do a good job this week of preparing, our bodies for that. But I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. You start talking about all that kind of stuff, and I think it just plants an extra thought in their head. So we'll talk about it a little bit, but not anything that, hey, we're going, whatever you said, 5,000 feet above sea level. We just hydrate, get ready to play, and practice the best we can, and try to improve this week.
Coach, in the landscape of college football now, with things moving around, and when you look at putting a non-conference schedule together, you had a Sun Belt matchup this past week. You've got Mountain West coming this week. Do you like seeing more non-conference games against Group of Fives, and do you feel like that is going to be a route that's, as you move through the future, that it's going to be leaning some more toward that?
Yeah, Chip. There's no telling what's getting ready to happen in college football here in the next, 24 months. There's a lot of changes that I can see happening, with the landscape of college football. But yeah, I think the more Group of Five schools can play Group of Five schools, I think it's important. I think it gives, an opportunity for your fans, for people to see, what it looks like in the Mountain West, what it looks, we've got a good idea about the Sun Belt because we've been there, and plus we play them, and, more geographically, you see what they have. But I think the more, the MAC, for us, Conference USA, for the MAC, the Mountain West, that we're not as familiar with. I think it's good for college football. I think it's good for us. I think it's good for the people around that support your program, to be able to go to different places and, see what Colorado State looks like, see what Toledo looks like, see what, Bowling Green looks like when we went up there. So I think all those things, and then especially, like you said, Chip, what looks like it's coming down the road here in college football, I think the more the Group of Five play each other, I think it's beneficial.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks,
All right,
Sam. Thanks, Chip. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
All right, guys, our student athletes this week, quarterback Chase Cunningham and defensive end Jordan Ferguson, and we'll get things started with Chase.
What's up, guys?
Morning, Chase.
Good morning.
So yeah, I guess I'll just start you off. Just asking what you guys are seeing from Colorado State on the defensive side as y'all are getting into game film this week.
Yeah. So they got pretty much a whole new staff. So, we're not really watching a lot of, their film from last week against Michigan. So kind of just, seeing what's going on, where the DC came from and everything, and, just trying to see what they do schematically.
Coach Stock touched on this a little bit, but I think they had 11 players follow the head coach from their old school at Nevada to Colorado State. But was that something that you even thought was going to be possible when you entered college football, when you first came in, to have that many people follow a coach to their next school?
Yeah, the transfer portal as a whole, I don't even know. It's a mess. That thing's just crazy how it works. And, I guess whatever it takes for a player to find a home. So they found theirs, and that's that.
How do you rebuild confidence as an offense after, getting the teeth kicked in a little bit this past week? Where did y'all start on Sunday when you hit that practice field for the first time, rebuilding that?
Yeah, I think we just watched the film, see what we could fix and correct, and, just go out there yesterday and, work on that stuff, put that game in the past, and, focus on these guys and what we can do better.
Coach Stock mentioned hydration as a key for you guys heading into playing up, 5,000 feet above sea level. How do you guys stay on top of that during the week?
I mean, I think the best way to do is, start now or after the game, and just prepare for it. I don't know if a lot of guys have been up there. I've never been up there personally, but I've heard things. So, I think start now and just go out the whole week preparing for it.
And finally, Chase, I don't know if you know this, but our athletic director, Chris Massaro, played against Colorado State when he played at Northern Colorado. I think it's his first time going back there since he's played. I really know where to go with that, but just how well do you know about Chris Massaro's athletic career, I guess? Did you know he was a former player? Because I didn't know that until I learned that this week.
I actually didn't know that, so you just said it. That's cool, though. I didn't know that.
Anything else for Chase?
I'm good, Mark.
All right, guys. Let's turn it
Appreciate
over now to Jordan Ferguson.
Morning, Jordan.
Good morning.
Jordan, I guess I'll start off with your observations of Colorado State's offense after looking at the film from last week and probably a little bit of Nevada too.
Yeah, so I know they got a lot of guys transferred in with the head coach from Nevada, quarterback, and they have 2 offensive linemen from Nevada. And I know they all have a little chemistry together. And they run a lot of 10 personnel, 11 personnel with Leo. I know they're going to try to pass a lot and do a lot of different things to get us out of our game.
The defense was able to hold their own in that first quarter against James Madison, but you probably had a lot of film to review in the second and third quarter in particular. But what are some of the things y'all are trying to correct this week as y'all start out there on the practice field?
Yeah, so, I mean, with the quarterback situation last week, they had a lot of formations that we didn't prepare for, that we didn't know about, which happens. It's fine. It's a lot of things to learn from, a learning experience that we can bring to this week. We're going to be ready to go. Coach Shape's going to do everything he can. They didn't have too much film from the Michigan game because of the score. I know we're going to watch a lot of Nevada film because they're going to transfer that over as well to this year's team. We're going to be ready to go. We're going to work on everything that we can and be ready for the unexpected this week as well.
Hey, Jordan, this is Chip Walters. Their quarterback at JMU was really skilled and hard to contain.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado State doesn't have a guy. Well, he was at Colorado State, but now is that one less thing you're going to have to face this week? Yeah,
I mean, he's not. Of course, he's not going to be as good as a runner as a guy from this week, and I don't think he can pass as good as well too. But you never know. Hopefully, he stands in the pocket a little bit more, and I know he's going to get the ball out quick. So they don't really max protect like they did last week. Even if they do, we're going to be ready for it. We got a lot of different things we're going to do this week, and I'm excited to do it.
What's the key to having good practices after you guys have gotten your teeth kicked in a little bit to start out the year?
I mean, it's a humbling experience. It was the first game to hit somebody else. I mean, things happen. We just got to keep our head down and keep grinding. We just, as leaders, as the people to lead the team, we got to collectively be contagious, have positive energy, just keep going. And we got to use it as a motivation. As Coach Stock said, we can either rot or we can keep going, get it up, and be ready to go this week. Both teams got their butts kicked a little bit. And we're all going to be fired up. Both teams going to be ready to look for their first win. So somebody got to do it. And I think we got to do what it takes to have a good practice this week, hard practice tomorrow, a good practice Wednesday, and then some polish days Thursday and Friday. It's be a big key for us to hydrate this week. Be ready to go for that altitude, but it's just a different place to play a football game, and we're gonna be ready to go.
Anything else for Jordan? Thanks, Jordan.
Hey, guys.
All right, guys, just want to remind everyone, we'll be back here again next week as the Blue Raiders prepare for their home opener. All right, thank you.